It was an obvious follow-on from the research on business models. It's a central capability for HR. The reason why it's become more important is that many organisations now are operating in business models across several players, several parties, and this has fundamental implications for how you're going to design the organisation, its financial control systems, how information should flow from one part of the organisation to another, the capabilities you have to have in place, and so on. So there are radical questions, there are opportunities really to redesign the organisation. Something that comes out from this research is what exactly does this capability actually look like inside organisations? And we lay that out in the white paper. But the gist of our argument is that you need to combine historically separate capabilities, organisation development, organisation design. Organisation design now needs to take precedence, and when you look at the skills and the knowledge you need to do this, you're combining issues that have been dealt with previously by very different functions. HR needs to take control of that territory inside the organisation.
Well, I think we've already highlighted that the idea of business model is an integrating idea, and what we've found is that actually the intellectual traditions that come into design and development are quite separate and are fragmented. So we have design, which has traditionally been about how organisations are structured and mapped, and development, which is traditionally a very strongly value-driven idea, which is about how teams, individuals and the organisation culture can be improved for greater well-being. Our argument now is that HR has an opportunity to merge these different traditions and capabilities, one of which has led to some fads of business process reengineering, another which has led to other areas of team dynamics. The time is to bring these together under the heading of an organisational service provided in the context of business model change. Well, I think there are a number of questions that this raises for HR directors. The first and most obvious question is, do you have this or this change happening inside your organisation? Is business model changing? If it is, how are you providing the support to it? What kind of design support are you providing? And then the following question is, where is it sitting in your organisation? Is it sitting within HR or is it currently fragmented? How can you combine this support into one area? Should it be support that you provide internally, or should this kind of support be outsourced? A very important decision, given what we're arguing, which is this is a strategic capability for the organisation. And then finally, what does it represent in terms of your capabilities, the kind of skills and competencies you're going to need to be able to provide this kind of strategic level support? In order to be able to find answers to these questions, we think HRDs need to do three things. They need to be thinking bigger. They need to be thinking at the higher level of business model change, at the level of value mapping, value design, understanding the value proposition of the organisation and the industry. We think they also need to be thinking a little broader in terms of understanding how you can provide an integrated capability which is currently spread between potentially several different disciplines in your organisation, such as IT, supply chain management. So that needs to be brought together. And then the final one is to think more integrated, which is how you can actually source that in a way that gives the organisation an integrated, synthesised design support rather than a fragmented one.
I think there's a lot of merit in the two-stage approach where you initially set up an OD capability or centre as a centre of excellence, staff it with good quality staff, gain a reputation, gain credibility, gain entry with senior line managers, ensure that everybody regards that group as very business relevant. Then after 2 or 3 years, the HR director can disband, in a sense, that central unit and push out responsibility jointly to line managers and to senior HR business partners, and in a sense hand over that responsibility for organisational design to those people and let the unit just die away at the centre. I think all our research would indicate that for business partners to have credibility and to have a reputation again for business relevance, they have got to have a capability in organisational design and talent proofing. The business partner needs to be perceived as having that capability and the ability to utilise and apply it.
Obvious starting point is to say what exactly is really meant by this particular capability. Now what we're suggesting is, let's go back, let's look at the fundamental change models that are in place inside organisations. So you can think about the work of Galbraith with his STAR model, you can think about the work of Lippmann on change, you can think about the work on strategic leadership and so on. These models underpin the particular intervention that's taking place. So we started with those models, and we're reverse engineering them to identify the skills, the knowledge, the political capabilities you have to have, the networks you need to be tied into inside the organisation, that flow from each of these different ways of handling this combined change capability. I think that will give us some very valuable advice to take HR functions through.